How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to Muv-Luv Monday. I have cut off the SFX, the special effects, because I don't want the guns blazing the whole time I'm having a recap, but we'll kick it back up right before we start again. But we learned that on the French-Canadian side, we've seen a return of Sagiri, and I had a thought after the end of last session, because all the overwhelmingness was happening to me, but I had a realization. I realized a lot. There's a lot that gets explained with Sagiri's presence here. Think about it. He's part of a group inside the Japanese forces that really didn't like all the politicking that was going on. How the politicians were dictating. They were constantly having to defer to the UN for decisions. Ultimately, they saw that the Shogun was like not really recognized properly as a figurehead. Was mostly just kind of there, and then was being manipulated, and like the government was essentially being puppeted. Their whole position was that they wanted to have a coup in order to gain control and put the rights back where they belonged, and to try and save and prioritize Japan and the country of Japan, rather than like constantly like working with UN and American forces. Then UN and American forces essentially win, and now Japan is lost. But those forces, those people, any who survived, are likely still feeling that same way. So then it makes me think about the fact that the attack on the base. Remember how they said it was a little suspicious that the people there went out of their way to speak in French? What if it was the coup happening essentially again? They want to instigate an excuse of a fight. They want to give the French a reason to make this move, because it furthers their efforts in order to remake Japan for what it should be, right? Sagiri and his people. So the traitors who were on this base, who took everything over, who threatened the life of the Shogun, essentially, they were Japanese. I think they were Japanese citizenry who were part of what would have become the coup had events played out differently. And now they're essentially part of an organization, but now they've been absorbed by the French, potentially seen as allies in a promise to, like, in exchange for their efforts and proving the loyalty, that Japan might be spared and become like absorbed into the French-Canadian conglomerate that they are also believing is less corrupt than America. So maybe that's why Sagiri's here. Maybe he's here with his most like loyal to actively fight, even if it means killing Japanese soldiers whom they see as traitors anyway, because they're aligning themselves with America. And in return, they want to have provisional leadership over the government of Japan after it's been overthrown, as long as it's not entirely destroyed. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's my theory anyway. Again, I've had time to think about it, so like maybe I'm stretching, maybe I'm overanalyzing, but that's just, I want to get that in on the ground right now. So that's where we are. Essentially though, we don't know who first shot. It doesn't really matter at this point. The fighting's happening at the border, and Hibiki and his squad are being activated. They're going to try and get to the front, but I have a feeling that because of just because of the time it takes to get in TSFs and launch, majority of the damage is going to have been done between then and now. So we're likely about to see this spiral into just the worst case scenario, which sucks for the Japanese soldiers because they just got off of a sortie and now they've been pushed up to the front and now they're fighting again. Like, if they make it through this, they're going to be pretty freaking upset. So anyway, let's get this sound back on and get going. Ah, there it is. All right, let's see what happens. Fetch. What did they hit him with? The tanks?
コマンドポスト砲撃戦が始まったぞどうなってるこちらコマンドポスト現在状況を確認中その場にて待機せよくそ聞こえねえ磁気嵐いやジャミングかバカ勝手に撃つんじゃねえ
They're firing back. Now they can't stop. Now it's just all gonna spiral. God, fast. The Americans have just gone for it.
クレイン2より招待活気近接データリンクで相互フォローしろ戦闘準備了解
Oh my gosh, this sucks! Man.
フェザントリードよりクレイン2何が起きた現状はどうなっている始まってしまったのか誰だどちらが先に撃ったのだ
It doesn't matter.
つくよみ直ちに日米の責任者を招集しなさいカナダ、フランス両政府と交渉いたします
しかし殿下どうかお立場を考えてください御身がこの件に関与するためにはハワイ政府の許可を求めねばなりません
このまま手をこまねいて見過ごせと申すのですか
ここで無理を通せば後々
ですが今一刻の猶予もありません
ご再考を殿下にはこれから先なさねばならぬことがございます
分かっていますそれは重々承知していますですがそれは戦争と天秤にかけられるものではないでしょう
I don't know which side I'm on here, because Yui is in a bit of a bind. She's right. If she doesn't act now, a lot of lives are about to be lost. And the negotiation likely is going to go the exact same regardless of what happens at this battle. I don't see either side gaining a major upper hand here. They might think they will, but I can't imagine with resources being stretched so thin that any clear advantage is going to be gained by either side. It's just going to be a lot of losses and a continued stalemate. That's probably one of the best outcomes, and that's a terrible outcome. If they can get to negotiations now, if they can get a ceasefire now, and at least start talking with the understanding that they're willing to go to blows, like, that would necessitate actual deal-making rather than saber rattling, because the saber rattling's over once the sword's out. So I get why she wants to do that, but I absolutely understand what Tsukiyomi's talking about when she's saying, like, look, you don't have that authority. If you jump the gun here, it's going to inhibit your ability to be, like, a charismatic political leader here, because they absolutely would call her back and force her to remain kind of, very, very much a figurehead again. Right now, she's being allowed by the excuse of like helping boost morale to be more influential than she has been in the past. And remember, I'm also like 99% sure that the families are, it's essentially supposed to be underneath the Shogun, know that she's not the actual Shogun, that Mei has stepped in. And so they use that to force her to kind of take their like role, saying like, look, like we have the actual power here. What do you want us to reveal that the real Shogun died and then strip you of the power you do have, the good you could be doing? So like, I feel like that they would just kind of remove her and make her be a figurehead again, only occasionally come out with approval and with them having very scrutinized like control over what she's allowed to say. She has a bit of autonomy here, and she might give that up if she steps on toes and gets and moves things in a direction that the politicians in Japan do not like. So I can understand it. I really don't know what I would do or recommend for her, but knowing who she is, she's not one to sit on her hands, like she said.
目の前で婿の民が傷ついていくのです。そなたは私にそれを感受せよと申すのですか?
Even if you know it's for the best, you never could.
ですが、殿下。
私の未来はこの程度で全てが閉ざされると思いますか? 私には新たな道を切り開けぬと思いますか? ここで目をつぶるなら何のための将軍職なのだ? 何のために恥を忍んで生き延びたのだ?
I think if I had to say, I think she's right. I think she's got to do it, even if it screws over her power base for a while.
何のために私はあるのだ? 答えよ、つくよみ! 神よ、友へ、恵比寿、答えよ! 私は何のためにこの職を継いだのだ?
Wait, what if Hibiki did it instead? He's got a lot of influence too. He's even respected by America. What if he could somehow make it happen without her having to do this? Man, I don't fully grasp the situation, but geez, she's a totally different person when she's mad. Doesn't sound like her hands are tied, more like handcuffed. It's just what I thought. Her Highness is pretty much a figurehead, one that now intends to defy the Imperial government. But why can't she act on her own initiative? The Emperor himself granted her absolute power over state affairs. And isn't the Grand Shogun supposed to speak for the whole nation? Why would she even need to ask for the government for permission? I get that she can't just go rogue, but that's pretty darn weird they're so fixated on political fallout when the very future of Japan is at stake. That's it. The Japanese authorities aren't just worried about holding the country together, they've got to keep up friendly relations with the United States too. It's all part of a precarious balancing act. One we have to face right after we get the chance to start anew.
私は無念だ。この状況で何もできぬ無力な自分があまりに口惜しい。
Dang it. Come on though, with Hibiki, he can do something here. Use your hero status, man. Oh, they're not contradicting that either? Oh, that sucks. Come on, man, do something. Her words cut deep. It's not like we're clueless. We all know that living in a foreign land would be a challenge, one that would wear our spirits down. But Her Highness never let a single complaint escape her lips. She soldiered on, breaking her back, trying to make life better for us. Everything she has ever done was for the future of our country in mind. I never had a shred of doubt that Her Highness cares immensely about her subjects. But after meeting her and hearing the way she speaks of Japan, I'm convinced there's nobody more dedicated to the Empire than her. She must be devastated, to the point where there's no trace of the leader who was taking the long view, the one I was talking to mere minutes ago. That yearning to do something, consequences be damned, must be eating up her inside. And I wonder, is that gonna be my fate?
立浪、もし私に万が一のことがあった場合、何としてでも殿下を守ってくれ。あの人こそ私に残された最後の希望なんだ。
F no.
余計な口を挟むな。
Shut. Let him talk, dang it.
であればお言葉に甘えて。謙遜は美徳かもしれないけど、発言できる権利を手に入れたのに言葉を発しない人間も私は嫌いよ。
I love how Lilia has this powerful little like moment for him.
世の中を変えられるのは選ばれた一部の人間の発言だけなのよ。大多数の人間はその資格を持てないまま生きていくしかないの。あなたも世界と一人で向き合ったんでしょ。それなら
I ain't gonna be like that.
貴様、このものをつまみ出せ。
待ってください、殿下。戦争なんかダメです。絶対に止めなきゃダメだ。
お黙りなさい。
だけど殿下が困るのもダメですよ。だってそれってみんなが困るってことじゃないですか。俺はこれ以上みんなが困るのは見たくない。せっかくいい方向に進んでいたんだ。
そなた、
俺を使ってください。殿下が表立ってできないなら俺を使ってください。
Yeah, there we go.
それで殿下がうまくやれるって言うなら俺は何だってやりますよ。
Talking out of my butt. I don't know how to stop this war. I got nothing, but I couldn't care less right now. All I know is I have to do something, and I'm willing to stake my life to do it.
エビス、話すのだ。
何でもします。絶対に他言しません。だから
もうよい。そなたの思いはよくわかった。嬉しく思うぞ。
では
立浪、そなたの命、
Oh,
私にくれ。
that's terrifying, but yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All the salutes. Yes.
ゆうひ様。
つくよみ、このような時、あのお方なら何と申されるでしょう。
I wonder what he would say.
私はこうではないかと思うのです。自らのそなたの申す通り、私にはなすべきことがあります。それに鑑みれば、ここで私が流行ることは 決して得策ではありません。ですが、戦争もまた必ず止めねばならないものなのです。
A new path has opened, I hope.
この大難を乗り越えるためには、陰ながら働く何者かの協力が必要でしょう。
Oh, if this works, he's about to become an agent of the Shogun itself. Holy crap! Oh, that would be quite an upgrade.
はい。
たとえそれがそなたに辛い道を歩ませることになったとしても、私はいざとなればそなたに命じるでしょう。それでもよろしいですか？
For you? Absolutely.
はい。何なりと。
立浪、そなたに心よりの感謝を。おかげで光明が見えた気がします。
Leave it to me.
ありがとうございます。
そなたは早急に基地に戻り、出撃の準備を整えておいてください。
はっ。
誰か立浪を基地まで送り届けよ。
今一度ご再考願えませんでしょうか。
参ります。公務員の名を継いだ者として国難には神明をかけねばなりません。
Oh, wait a minute. That would be interesting. Maybe she can't force like a negotiation. But what would happen if she showed up in her own Takamazuchi on the battlefield? What would they do? Ooh. And if she did that, what would Sagiri do? Oh, fetch. That'd be really interesting.
殿下、ご加盟お待ちしております。
I don't think that's what's gonna happen, but it'd be really interesting. Run! Get to the TSFs! Go! Yeah, I know, right?
出てきたか。内部スリードより各機に通達する。戦闘許可はまだ降りていない。許可あるまで発砲は控えろ。
Right.
いざとなったら私たちにバンクーバーを制圧させるつもり？また交戦の際には市街地を避け、できるだけ海上にて戦闘せよ。絶対に市民を巻き込まないで。
I like Lilia. I liked her in the prologue. I like her now. She's awesome. And I still love how she kept the Black Knives name, like, from the JFK. Like, it's such a cool thing. The Black Knives and the War Dogs. What a good, like, combo team there.
各艦艇の砲撃準備進行中。敵主要施設捕捉完了。
西海岸にはガスコーニもいなければシャルル・ド・ゴールもいない。だが油断は禁物だ。指級が超迂回してきているという噂もある。
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting. Cause like I was just about to say, like normally I like remember if I were in this universe, I could see myself being a lot more useful in a coordination room than any other place. But where they used to be places that were, well, like nowhere was safe against the beta, but like because the beta were like laser class were really the only things that could attack ships directly. They would often do the best to preserve them because like you need to have that artillery base and that coordination like really, really good. But now that we're fighting against submarines, like our navies against other humans are a much more dangerous place.
ソナーは厳重監視体制を取れ。対戦哨戒機からの報告はどうなっている？
現在異常はありません。
Yeah, they were looking for submarines that are getting close to the surface. Obviously, you still couldn't see any that are fully submerged from the aircraft, but for a submarine to function, especially because, like, in order for them to get good, like, reports, to be able to communicate, get air, and specifically to fire, they do need to get close to the surface, which means anti-submarine craft would be able to spot them.
VLS の発射準備完了。発射可能ですが、磁気嵐の影響で照準精度に不安が残ります。
God, this magnetic storm is really messing stuff.
命令あるまで待機せよ。まさかこの船の方を人類に向けることになるとはな。
Yeah, I like the captain of the Yamato. Like, the Yamato as a ship in general is great.
艦長、 アメリカ軍は反応弾も視野に入れていると思われますか？
Please no. It's one thing, and it's bad enough we're firing at each other using, like, I'm guessing that reaction warheads are like the nukes, right?
人類がそこまで愚かでないことを信じたいものだ。
Can this be like our catchphrase? I'd like to believe, based on like all the stuff I'm seeing in the world right now, I'd like to believe the human race has retained an ounce of sanity. Doesn't feel like it sometimes.
だから撃たれたら撃ち返せ。だが前線は押し上げるな。いいか、可能ならば相手はフランスに限定しろ。
God, that's some optimistic thinking. When your back's against the wall, you're being fired at, like, you're gonna fire back, and you're not gonna care who.
すでに混戦状態です。無茶言わんでください。
へい、クソ。判断は任せる。できるだけ味方に損害は出すな。私はあと3分で到着する。以上だ。
If the French were doing things properly, though, this is essentially a distraction because they're panicking, they don't know what to do, they're having trouble communicating, so a lot of forces are going to flock to wherever there's combat because the idea is to be suppress it, keep it from spreading, and then a counterattack will come and flank. If I were Sagiri, that's what I would do, is I would swing around during this chaotic period, you know, using like the insanity and the radio storm to prevent detection, zoom around and attack from behind.
フェザントリードよりヘッドクォーター、状況を知らせ。フェザントリードよりヘッドクォーター、状況を知らせろ。
ヘッドクォーターよりフェザントリード。米国海軍およびアメリカ海軍の移動が継続中。繰り返す。米国
アメリカ空軍の動きは？
先ほどシアトル市内に飛行禁止命令が発令されました。
Anything that flies over near Seattle is going to get shot down. That's good.
なんだと？まさか連中は反応弾でも使うつもりなのか？
That's not good, though.
他に情報は入っていないのか？カナダ軍はどこまで進出してきている？フェザントリードよりヘッドクォーター、聞こえないのか？くそ、中継機が機能していないのか？四季嵐の影響か。くそ。
Yeah, like seriously, I do think, especially in a modern era, like if you can attack the communication infrastructure, that is going to win you so much of a battle. There's only so much people can do, especially at a very reactionary battlefield where it's difficult to understand who's firing at who, what's going on. Breakdown in communication is like a paramount like thing. If I were ever in charge of a coordinating an assault of some kind, I would almost always seek to destroy, distract, or work around communications. Just because it's so critical and it's something that most people like they understand but don't truly think about, because we always just assume we can talk to each other, we can always assume we have our phones, you know, cell phones, radios, communications, like we always just assume we have those and that they're a resource we'll always have access to. Take it away and it's amazing how quickly things will fall apart, even when you have a well-structured defense. And the Americans.
ラプターか。
Raptors, yeah.
ハンター1よりフェザントリード。米国軍にはアボッツフォードから進出してくるフランス軍を抑えてもらいたい。
冒険少佐、戦域を拡大させるのか。通信状態が悪い。これでは指揮系統が崩壊するぞ。
通信状態が悪いのは敵も同じだ。通信部隊を展開させる手はずは整えている。
Maybe you have to, but I don't like how vulnerable the communications are. I would be... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Canadians especially, like, well, the French, and specifically Sagiri, are working on a flanking maneuver right now.
すでに混戦になっているのだぞ。手をこまねいた方が食われる。情報を提送した。早急に向かわれたし。
いいか隊、これは要請ではない。日米同盟に基づいた命令だ。対人類戦争において帝国軍がアメリカ軍の機下に入ることは条件の一つだ。
Oh, fetch. That's a crappy cause. Oh, no.
命令には従おう。だが一つだけ問いたい。アメリカ空軍が動いたという情報は誠か？
同盟国として答える。現在アメリカ空軍は出撃の準備に入っている。
Oh boy.
まさか反応弾を使うつもりはあるまいな。
使用するならばいずれ撤退命令があるだろう。その時に動けばいい。
バカな。ここで使えばカナダだけではない。 アメリカも道連れになるぞ。
Yeah, that's true. Freaking yeah, like it's Vancouver and Seattle. They're not far enough apart to make it so that like not launching some kind of reactive nuke wouldn't have a massive, incredible, dire consequences for Seattle.
だがその犠牲でこの馬鹿げた戦争が終わるかもしれんのだ。カナダが降伏すればフランスも和平を求める。
But what if they do the same thing? What if they react the same way? And heck, oh no, I just realized something terrible. Remember at the very beginning of this game, they were in, like, they had people in DC like looking for some kind of technology, some kind of thing. And they were in the capital of the United States, right? That had essentially just been like desolate, mostly from the lack of oxygen. There are two things I can think of that they could have grabbed there, off the top of my head. Number one, countermeasure to nuclear devices. If they could make sure that the Americans launched a nuke, countered it, but proved that America was willing to do that, it would force Canada to go all in where they're currently hesitant. Number two, what if they got themselves a hand on their own hand on a nuclear device like that? What if they strike first and hit Seattle? They already have operatives inside. What if they just had something there already? Imagine, that would be so devastating. What would Japan do if America were essentially just snuffed out? What if Japan became the most, like, military, like, the greatest military power in the United States? Jeez.
そんなわけが。
私は軍人だ。私は未だ軍人だ。実行する側の人間であり、この件を判断すべき立場の人間ではない。
Yeah. Jeez, her expression says it all.
大統領は対人類戦争で貴重な装備が消耗することを警戒している。可能な限り損耗を減らして勝利するのが私に与えられた任務だ。
Oh my gosh.
戦況不利と判断されれば、どのような命令が下っても文句は言えない。私にできるのは軍人として己の責を果たすのみだ。
敵に勝利するためには手段は問わないというのか。人間同士が戦う。何も変わっていない。
We haven't even confirmed if all the beta are gone. And we're still trying to kill each other.
あなたの行動は全て無意味だったのでしょうか。
Wait, what?
詐欺り大尉。
Sagiri. She's talking about him as if she's been working with him. That throws a wrench into some things. Do they think he's like an agent, like, or a double agent? Well, yeah, tanks aren't meant to fight TSFs.
下がれ。懐に潜り込まれたら食われるだけだぞ。クレーン中隊、飛行大隊の交代を支援するぞ。了解。なんだこのひどい乱戦は。畜生。まるで統率が取れてねえぞ。電池障害がひどすぎなんですよ。レーダーだって当てにならない状態です。愚痴言ってないで、やれることからやりましょうや。来るぞ。敵艦はカナダのトーネードとフランスのミラージュ2000か。油断すんじゃねえぞ。了解。
Oh my gosh. So there he is. God, he's really good. We can't forget that he's freaking terrifying as a pilot. Remember, Skyomi is one of the best pilots that we've ever seen, and he went toe-to-toe with her. Like, he was comparable to one of the greatest Japanese pilots, and they have some of the best in the world. Oh my gosh. He took walking out in an alternative, right? Yeah, he is. He's getting really close with that.
これ以上戦争を拡大するわけにはいかんのだ。
Also, if you look at that sword, I don't know if it was designed for beta, but it's got a hook on the end. That actually makes it really good at fighting TSFs, because that's the thing, is like TSFs are really good about having the reactions. Like that's why having the human-shaped TSFs are really good, because they can be agile, and like by mimicking the human form, they get the like we have good understanding of like the way they can move. But having a hook on the end of the sword, even if you can't slash through all the armor, if you can hook something and trip the TSF, game over. So a hook on the end of something like that is really powerful for such combat.
そっちに行かないで。私の家が
燃える、燃えちまう。
ここも安全じゃない。
Run, people, run!
バカ死んじゃえ。
Poor civilians.
何度問い返されても答えは変わらぬ。我が帝国は公務員雄妃殿下のご意志をもって即時停戦を求めるものである。
驚きで開いた口が塞がらないとはこのことだ。馬鹿げた冗談を聞いてる時間はないんだ。
こちらも機関らの愚痴に付き合っている暇はない。大統領に至急取り次ぎを頼むと何度言わせるつもりだ。
突然会議に臨席して無茶を言う。この絵という組織は外交手順というものを理解していないのかね。
事態を理解しているのか。この非常時に手順を持ち出すとはどういった了見だ。それともまさか大統領が穴蔵の中に逃げ込んだきり出てきてくれないとでも。
ほう。
貴様、即時停戦を望む帰国の真意を問いたい。でなければ大統領に合わせるわけにはいかない。
That's the sad thing. There's no ulterior motive here. We just don't want people dying.
そこにおられる将軍は我が国の東海岸がフランスによって不当に蹂躙されているのを理解しているのだろうな。
無論だ。
ならば話は早い。第六共和制フランスを名乗る輩どもは大解放後に我が国から供給された食料援助の恩も忘れ、不法にも我が国領土内を侵犯し、多くの住人を殺害し物資を摘発していった。そして今さらに我が国土に侵入し、生産プラントの破壊活動まで行った。この
しかり
日米同盟とフランスカナダ連合の勢力比はほぼ互角。西では我々が優勢で、東は奴らが好き勝手に動いている。
Oh, I see. Maybe this is more about the like a power grab and like, because like having the Canadians so close was really like scary, and like it makes it difficult for them to do much with the military, because like they have to keep on guard constantly. But if they can take Vancouver and secure the west side of Canada, it gives them a lot more breathing room. Maybe that's what this is about.
だが我らと同じ西に勢力を持つカナダを変動すれば、フランスに対し圧倒的なアドバンテージを持つことができる。それでもなお帰国は即時停戦を求めるのか。
Yeah, that's what they want.
しかり。
そうか。それでは交渉は決裂だな。あいにくだが我が国は専制国家である貴国と違い民主国家なのでな。国民感情というものを無視できないのだ。
I highly doubt you had a vote about this.
ことここに及んで先端を切らねば臆病者のそしりを受けよう。我らは敵を蹂躙し、武力をもって我らが意志を他国に強制する。では会談は以上だ。失礼する。
I highly doubt that, but I can see why he might think that.
お待ちください。
殿下。
お座りください。マクガイア准将。機関にお尋ねしたいことがございます。
何ですかな、将軍。あいにくと我々は戦争中で忙しい。手短に願いたい。
では手短に申すことにいたしましょう。先ほど民意を無視できない、 臆病者のそしりを受けると申されていましたが、
So you'd be like, have you actually talked to them?
准将のおっしゃる民意とは何なのですか？
質問の意味をいささか把握しかねますな。私の言った民意とはアメリカ市民のことだ。今我ら合衆国市民は不当な攻撃を受け、怒りに腹渡が煮えくり返っている。マグマのようにだ。
I sure it's your people's anger or yours?
なるほど。では続けて問いましょう。准将のおっしゃる市民という存在は、この状況をどれだけ認識しているのですか？世界が今まさに破滅せんとしているこの状況をどれだけ認識しているのですか？
Heading down the path of ruin. We've been dancing down that path so far.
我が国には公明正大なマスコミが存在する。市民はベータ大戦の厳しさも、大解放による破壊も、フランスによる侵略も全て理解している。
ではさらに問いましょう。それら市民はその情報を知ることによって無病になられたと、あなたは判断するわけですね。答えてください、マクガイア准将。
市民が無病であるかどうかはこの際関係がない。
それは何故でございますか？
市民ではなく我々が選択するからだ。選挙で選ばれた代表者が私のような専門家の意見を聞き決定する。これが一番矛盾なく物事を決めるための段取りだ。
I mean, there's some truth to that in a sense, but here's the thing. The system currently is very skewed because the experts that they pull in often are more politically skewed than actual experts. I mean, granted, they'll have credentials, but they only care if they're willing to tote the line or follow certain, like political thoughts rather than just being an expert. The way the system should work, and the way I wish it could work, like I don't want to be president, but if I somehow could just be president tomorrow and I got to choose a cabinet of people, I would just choose the best of the fields I could find, and I'd specifically look out for people who have different mindsets than me. Yeah, it can make a bit of a dumpster fire, but the thing is that if I'm the person who's going to be making the decisions, you know, the elected official who's going to be making the ultimate decision when it comes down to it, like when it comes to situations like this, especially a crisis, I'd want to sit down with a person who knows what they're talking about, who is not affiliated with my political party or my political stances in any way, and I just want them to tell me what they believe to be honest truth. If anything, I'd like to get another expert also to collaborate, but often you don't have time for that, so I'd simply want to take in the information and make a decision and accept the consequences of said decision. I wish I could just surround myself with a cabinet of people who just genuinely believe wholeheartedly in what they were supposed to be like expert in. They want to see the furtherment of like what they believe is the best based on like their actual understanding, and having no time for lobbying or taking bribes from governments and businesses and people. Like, I wish I could just do away with all of that. But the trouble is that people are human and that doesn't work. Like, I can't just believe that somehow I or anybody could fix the system. It's one of the better systems we have, but gosh darn it, is it frustrating. It's so annoying that so much power gets shared by so few people, and that even in a system that is like directly like written and prepared to try and give the best chance for the people to have say and ultimate power in the government, it still gets so skewed towards the rich and influential that there's only so much that the common person can do. And despite it being what I believe the best system we currently have, it's still so flawed. It's still so manipulated. It's still so skewed and twisted and bent around the ideas, opinions, and beliefs of the few, the powerful, the rich, and that ultimately there's not much that can be done, because despite our best efforts, I feel like even the best people get corrupted as they work their way up the ladder, because how are you supposed to be successful without the support of those people? How are you supposed to find the ability to actually like stand a chance in these campaigns unless you get the backing of the powerful and the elite and the rich? And as soon as you accept that, You become beholden to them. You become lashed to their ideals and their desires. No matter how much you might claim otherwise, that's just the truth of it. I wish we could somehow disconnect money from political power. I have an idea that's stupid that I wish would work, but it just would never survive a system like this. It's so frustrating because I get so personally invested in this, and yet I look at the politics and part of me almost wonders, like, should I try and fix this somehow? Like, isn't it like the duty of a citizen to seize a problem, to do their best to fix it, to get involved somehow? And yet I look at it and I'm like, I don't know if I could, even if I wanted to, and even if I did, how could I avoid becoming exactly what I find frustrating? How could I do this dance and actually make a difference if I didn't allow myself to get curtailed? And it gets really depressing. It gets so frustrating. And I don't know what else I can do or say, but I want to do something. I'm terrified of the way things are going sometimes. I look at the way that the world is devolving, and I like the way that the decisions are being made. And it's like, I don't even care about the politics of it. Left, right, conservative, like liberal, green, like party. I don't even know the other parties that are prevalent in Europe, sadly. Like, I don't know enough about your politics to have any say in that regard. But like, I still look at it and I just get so sad because I feel like we're so close to being able to have things right and being able to genuinely have like proper discussions and actually work things out and have like compromises to be able to actually work towards like a better goal, like the betterment of all, rather than simply just toting the line of the people who are funding us. And yet we're so close, and yet we're also so far away, because no matter who you are, how can you prevent getting corrupted by a system that's built like this? And this thing is, it wasn't established this way. The trouble is that the people who have power and influence adapted the system. They adapted to the system and then have adapted the system to meet their needs. That's why tax law is so insane. You think it'd be pretty easy. And the way that we structure taxes right now, like, it sounds silly, but genuinely, it's actually really good. The idea of a scaling system to take less of the burden from the population with the least amount of income, whose income wouldn't even have much impact anyway, and skew it up so that those who have like more and have more plenty take a larger share of the burden, because their quality of life is less affected by that. And yet there's still so much dodging that gets done by the people who have the most, the companies that make the most, also write into the laws of the countries that they live in, work around so they don't have to pay as much taxes, essentially shoving the burden on the people who don't have as much. And they can do it because they just have the money to move around to make it happen. And like that, I wish that weren't allowed, because now it makes the law so complicated, because it becomes this tug of war between people who are trying to avoid paying taxes so they can make more money, and people trying to combat that to make it so that the people who are making tons of money aren't able to avoid taxes. It becomes this back and forth, and it's just stupid. Anyway, I don't know. I'm getting on a political, like, I'm gonna really make people angry if I keep getting on political stuff, but I'm just saying it's frustrating. And I'm so frustrated because like it's being so well represented in this game. Like, I understand that you don't come to these games for politics, but gosh darn it, he's summarizing it so beautifully here. How dumb it is.
あなたのおっしゃる民意というものが見えてきました。つまり選挙に受かるために注意を払わなければならない市民の感情値のことですね。
Now that is a weakness to democracy, but I personally feel that the pandering to the masses is one of the few things that, like, I hate it, but it's far superior than having dictatorships. Granted, this situation, like, it almost makes a dictatorship and the shogunship more appealing, but look how corrupt that system is too. Like, it's all corrupt. Like, there's nothing you can do here, really.
私には帰国の政治体制が是か非か判断することはできません。いいえ、この件で大統領に対しどれだけの影響力をお持ちであるか、私にはわかりません。ですが、スティーブン・マクガイア准将までご出世なされた職業人としてのあなたの誇りに、私は再び問いを発します。フランス、カナダという人類同胞を失って、この先ベータと戦い続けることは可能なのでしょうか。 座礁した空母 JFK の跡地に新たなモニュメントの建設が始まったという情報がある現在、あなたは帝国とアメリカだけでベータと戦い続けることが可能だと考えているのでしょうか？
Holy crap. What? Like, it took a second for me to realize what that means. They're building a new hive where the JFK was. Holy crap! Was I right? Was the hive core that they had at Yokohama, did they just stick it on the JFK and try to bring it over to the United States? That's why the beta attacked it right away. And since the JFK fell, the data they had from it obviously got escaped from it. But if the core itself was still there, that's why the beta had been able to recover, is because there was a beta hive core that was still around, and now it's been recaptured and allowing the beta to reconstruct themselves. After all that we did, we didn't destroy the Yokohama core because it was too valuable, which I get, but now that it's been lost, they've literally been able to recover a base, and if they can build a new monument, it means they're going to be able to build more, and the beta won! We can't win now! They have a hive! If they have a hive, and it's allowed to continue, we can't win! They can adapt, they can live on the freaking moon, they don't need atmosphere. We need atmosphere. They have the entire planet as their playground now, and they have a hive, which means they can continue to start regenerating. It means that they don't stop. Even if the original hive mind is destroyed, they've still coordinated enough, they can recover. And if they can recover, they can reestablish. And they can reestablish, I imagine they can get a new hive sent here from the moon or Mars, and it's over. Dunzo, be gone, all of it over. Like, one of the things that protected us was the network of satellites. If that's compromised in any way, we're just going to be hit with new monuments anyway. Fetch. Gosh darn it. And that also means right next to our doorstep. Does that technically mean that a hive is being built up on the American continents for the first time?
ご回答くださいますよう切にお願い申し上げます。
准将、答えられぬというのならば大統領につないでほしい。期間の悪いようにはしない。
Fetch. Oh, I'm so mad.
将軍閣下に私から問いたいことがあります。よろしいでしょうか。
ご随に。
先ほどあなたは我が国の政治体制の、いや、民主主義の弱点の一つを突かれた。確かに民主主義はその形態ゆえに州具政治に陥りやすいという構造的欠陥を持っている。
I would argue mob rule isn't the weakness, like is potential weakness. But there are some safeguards that prevent that from being super likely. The real flaw, I think, is falling under critical mass rule. The idea that like the people who control the resources are the ones that can kind of override, like they can counteract and subvert the will of the people.
だが、それでも現状では最良の政治形態であると私は信じている。
Okay, I can agree with that. Democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. It's like, it's terrible, but it's probably the best we got at the minute.
そこであなたに、専制国家の君主であるあなたに、どうしても答えてほしい質問がある。我らが政府が市民たちの支持に支えられているように、敵国であるフランスの市民たちの熱狂的支持に支えられている。
Uh-oh. He's gonna strike at the root here. I think I know where he's going.
彼らは我らを無慈悲な悪鬼のように語り、フランスの市民たちはそれを信じている。私の立場からすれば、これほど人を馬鹿にした話はない。我々はあの時、できる限りの援助をした。それこそ我が国の市民から不満の声が上がっても援助を継続した。もちろん、市民の中には自らボランティアとして食料の供給を手伝ってくれる者もいたが、多くの人々が不満を持つまで、我々はかの国に対し手を差し伸べ続けた。だが、信頼は裏切られ、我々は今、悪魔として語られている。残虐非道の悪魔を討て。そう言ってフランス政府が民衆からの支持を集めている。まったくもってどしがたい。ナチスから解放してやるのに何万人のアメリカ人の血が流れたと思っているのだ。それを 満足に感謝もせず、今度は臆面もなく我々を非人道的な超大国だと。
準将。
失礼した。ですが将軍、あなたならこれをどう解決するのでしょうか。先生
Oh, sorry, I clicked early.
もはや私には平和的解決という道は見えない。であれば国家として自国民を傷つけるわけにはいかない。国民に選ばれ、国民の幸福の追求のために尽くす。そのためには他国の人間から悪魔と呼ばれようとも。それが指導者たる者の仕事ではないでしょうか。
マクガイア准将。
何でしょう、将軍閣下。
この混乱の時代に重責を背負い戦い続けた今日までの期間のご苦労に感謝を申し上げます。
It's playing the good music.
我が国の政治形態を正確にお伝えしようとすると若干の時間を必要とします。この際、私が専制君主であるかどうかは置いておきましょう。私めの回答があなたの求める回答になり得るかどうか。それでもよろしいとおっしゃられるのであれば、私ならばというお話だけは申し上げましょう。
ぜひ将軍のご意見をお聞かせください。
はい。私ならば、生産プラントの基幹技術を公開します。
Dang. You know, that's quite an olive branch. It would allow them to have the ability to not starve.
なんと。
そしてカナダ、フランスの領土内に新規の生産プラントの建設を提案いたします。
Oh.
閣下、それは。
マクガイア准将。この問題は食料不足に端を発しておりますね。
She's right. Oh, this would piss off the people in Hawaii though. Like, think about it. She'd literally be giving the one thing that Japan has in its pocket right now, and just being freely giving it not only to the U.S. but to Canada and France.
それはその通りではありますが。
であれば、大元の問題を解決しなければいけないと考えます。
Oh boy.
生産プラント建設で食料問題を解決できるのならば、それこそ世界に広めるべき技術ではないでしょうか。
しかし、いや、生産プラントの基幹技術は帝国の宝とも言うべきものでしょう。この時代、食料を抑えるということは戦略的に非常に大きなアドバンテージになる。
It would be essentially neutering yourself in order to try and bring about the greater good.
アドバンテージ？そうでしょうか。私には独占しているがゆえに攻撃されているようにも見えます。
Holy crap.
攻撃されるならば撃退すればいいだけの話です。第一、生産プラントの技術はつい先日あなたの国の兵士が神明を落として守られたもの。それこそ国民感情が許すまい。
だからこそなのですよ、マクガイア准将。もともと生産プラントを交渉材料として使用する手段は検討されていたはず。フランスによる領土侵害を解決できない状況では帰国としては譲歩できない。
Interesting.
であればこそ、ここは私が、帝国こそが旗を振り4カ国を会議の椅子に座らせるべきかと思います。
Really interesting.
人類は共闘すべきであってお互いに争っている場合ではないのです。
それはしかし、そんなことを独断すればあなたの立場が。
私の政治力低下を懸念する必要はございません。私の生き方ですゆえ。
That's why you're the best, Maya!
それとこの作戦はわずかではありますが軍事面にも貢献するはずです。停戦交渉をしている間にハワイから帝国軍の増営を召喚することが可能になります。
Oh my gosh.
万一交渉が不調に終わるのであれば今度こそ武力を行使すればよい。その場合、 卑劣下道の手段を取ったとして名を汚すのは日本帝国の征夷大将軍である私です。
Holy crap.
帰国の対面が傷つくことはないでしょう。
それはハワイの日本政府の意思として認識していいのでしょうか。
First of all, oh, now you're willing to talk. Now you're willing to understand this thing. But secondly, absolutely not, but we'll just say that and it'll screw me over.
恐れながら殿下はハワイの日本政府の代理として発言する権限をお持ちでございません。殿下の言動は全て日本政府の監督下にあります。
Oh no.
それでは意味がない。今までの会談に何の意味があったというのだ。
意味はございます。准将。私はハワイの日本政府にも全く同じ話をするつもりでございます。その考えを先に准将に知っていただきたかったからこそお話しさせていただいた次第でございます。
そうか。そうでありましたか。
いやしかし殿下、それは越権行為も甚だしい。
黙れゲロ。ここにあらせられるは日本帝国国事全権代行征夷大将軍公務員雄妃殿下であるぞ。
はあ。
失礼。
わかった。大統領に連絡を取ろう。その代わり今の会話で出た一連の計画については全て遺漏なく遂行できるよう調整を願いたい。
帝国の威信にかけて約束は履行されますでしょう。
将軍にお見知りおきいただけたこと名誉に思います。
私も同じでございます。人類同士が共に手を取り合って生きていく道は必ずあるのだと私は断言いたします。
Holy crap.
50年前矛を交えていた私たちが今はお互いを貴重なパートナーとして認識しているのですから。
I like how you can refer to like World War II as disagreements. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
仰せの通りですな。
つくよみ、大至急ハワイとの回線を開きなさい。私がイカルガ公と直接話します。
は。
立浪中尉に連絡を。戦争を止めます。
Oh, how is that gonna happen though? What am I even doing? The adjustments are already finished. There's nothing more for me to do in the hangar. Can't afford to drift off. Gotta prepare myself to sortie. It's been a couple hours since hostilities began, but there's no new information so far.
ご気分でも悪いのですか？ずいぶん落ち着きがないように見えますが。
Just everything's going. Everything's just going. I don't even have the words. Yuzuka, I really should work on my poker face. Let's add that to the to-do if I don't die today list.
大丈夫だ。すまねえ。じれちまってた。機体から降りる。コックピットの中じゃ息が詰まる。
でしたら私も同じく
生き返るな。
生き返りますね。
まったく二人して何してんのよ。特に響。あなた殿下に謁見してから顔がこわばったままよ。
No.
殿下にいじめられでもしたの？
No, her servants did, not her. Ugh, do I really look that tense?
いや、非常にいい謁見の儀だったぞ。間違いなく殿下の俺に対する好感度もアップしたに違いない。
Yeah, at the cost of like you having to become her kamikaze.
まったく。
Aww.
その割には難しい顔して。うなるのはいいんだけど、その時は無線切っておいてね。
Dude.
そいつは正直すまんかった。
A release, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? I've been sitting in here grinding what few brain cells I have into mush.
真面目な話をするとさ、殿下の見てる世界のかけらを見せてもらうことができたって感じでさ。俺はバカだから政治のことはよくわからない。 でも自分の仲間や家族に飯を食わせようとするスタンスは絶対に間違っていないと思う。
Summarizes my feelings about politics as well.
それはそうかもしれないけど、それで他国を略奪してればやり返されても仕方ないじゃないの？
Yeah, I mean that. Okay, so that's interesting because there's a lot of philosophy to that and a lot of like questions there. It's like, if providing for my family means someone else can't, is that okay? I'd argue that, in essence, unfortunately, yes. Will that give them the right to fight you for those resources? Yes, and they have a right to do that because they need to try and keep themselves and their families alive, and just as much as you do. So if you can avoid it, obviously you need to, but can I blame anyone for actually doing what it takes to just allow themselves and their families to survive? I couldn't hold that against them. It's when people take from those who don't have in order to enrich themselves when they don't need it. That's what makes me upset.
どこかの国が正義でどこかの国が悪という単純な話じゃないだろ。みんな自分の家族や仲間を生かすために精一杯なんだ。
Yeah.
だからこそ武力の行使だけはやめさせたい。これ以上世界に新しい怨恨を作るわけにはいかないんだ。
And that freaking beta, they're making a new monument. Oh, that changes so much. I had a feeling it might happen, but knowing it's happening is horrible. And like knowing it's happening on the JFK, like that's so crazy.
この考えがどうしようもないアマちゃんの思想だってことは十分に承知してる。でも俺を支えてくれる様々な経験や思いが俺にそれをやれと言っている気がするんだ。お前みたいなバカにしかできないことだと誰かが俺に。
Yeah.
俺はそれに応えたい。
I want to live up to being that idiot. I must be mad. I'm a soldier for crying out loud, a grown-ass man. I know firsthand how dangerous blindly chasing one's ideals can be. It's easy to be an armchair activist, but actually getting off your butt and trying to change the world's another thing entirely. I know. I mean, that's what my whole rant was about, right? It's the fact that, like, I can say all these things I want, I can be this armchair activist all I want, but actually doing something about it, like, I do my part, I vote every time I can, I do my research before I do, which is, like, sadly, not as common as you would think in a democracy. Like, people just tend to go for party lines, like, instead of, like, actually looking at the people and, like, deciding which one's best. But yeah, I feel like there's more I could do, but then, like, I think about it, I'm like, am I willing to do that? Like, when I feel like it's so corrupt just to make a difference, like, am I willing to take those steps? Like, can I preserve, like, who I am and, like, who I want to be if I try to take the steps to get involved in politics? And then, who's even going to listen to me? I have no qualifications. I have nothing to offer except for a burning desire to somehow make this world a good place to live in, and to listen to other people rather than just by following like the marching orders of a party. Yet again, that in itself means I'm never going to be able to get the support I would need. So should I try? Sure, I'd love to. But what compromises do I make in order to make a difference, you know? Like, should I slave myself to a party if it means actually having an opportunity to serve in a position where I could actually make a difference? It's so hard. Compromising and settling for the next best thing, not quite getting at it, but better than nothing. That's how society tells you an adult's supposed to think.
俺レベルの人間が妥協してはいけないと思うんだ。俺が突っ走ってそれで転倒したらそこが妥協点なんだって別の人間が判断してくれればいい。だから俺自身は絶対に諦めない。いろいろな立場の人たちの話を聞いて一番高みにある答えを目指したい。
注意。
I wonder what his memories, like, what his memories are mistaking, like, what's not being remembered properly.
大変そうね。でも、チャレンジする価値はありますよ。
You guys are the best.
ああ、熱くなっちゃって。そんなの、うまくいく可能性は 1% 以下じゃない？
Oh, at least 1%.
そうかもしれないな。
That's right. I can't drag him along with me, not when I'm pretty much going on a suicide run.
悪かっ
仕方ない。チームリーダーがそこまで覚悟決めちゃってるんだもん。やってみましょうか。
Yeah, Ellen, you're great. What? Go, choose, Miono.
ゆずかは？
いずれこうなるのは分かってましたから。付き合いますよ。地獄の底まで。
Yuzuka's still my favorite.
おお、見せつけてくれるわね。
お前ら。
立浪注意。
Oh, I've heard that voice before. Hi.
神尾少尉。
貴様に重要な話がある。こちらへ来い。
え、何？
あ、お前らはそこで待機しててくれ。
立浪注意。夕日殿下の勅命を預かってきた。
Oh boy.
はい。
So it's finally time.
改めて貴様に問う。貴様は殿下のためにその身を捨てる覚悟があるのだな。
Yes, I
あり
am.
ます。
よかろう。心して伺え。
はっ。
日米は停戦に合意せり。これより4カ国会議の準備に入る。立浪、戦場にて戦争を止めよう。無用な流血は一滴たりとも流させるな。
Oh, fetch. How? How? Holy crap. Holy crap, Her Highness did it.
了解。慎んで拝命いたしました。
I love that derpy smile on his face. It's all on me now. Gotta make Her Highness's wish come true.
第17小隊集合。
Let's go! Yes! Was it Ogami, like her, like she's like, she always did that. Like, it's a pose I see a lot. It's like, she's like, yeah! Go. Look at this hellhole. Alright. Hey, we're gonna do that again. This is where we're gonna end for today. Oh my gosh! Like, thank you for listening to all my ranting. I apologize, but I also don't apologize because I meant every word of it, and I'm really happy I get to express myself and my feelings here. That's another thing. Like, I wonder if I could even actually run for a public office, because as soon as I started getting attention, like this channel's gonna be found. Like. I could see people just struggling with the fact that I enjoy visual novels, you know? Like, I mean, there's a whole debacle going on with Steam right now and Chaos Head that just kind of shows that still there's a lot of, like, misconstrued viewpoints on stuff like Simple as just a visual novel. Let alone the fact that I can spew my own opinions on here. Like, they're recorded, they're out there. Like, what if I regret what I've said 5 years from now? I doubt it, but like, that happens all the time. So could I even have a chance in public office? I doubt it. Like, probably not with so much of myself out here, but I don't care. I'm gonna be me. I'm always gonna be me. So thank you so much for listening to me and listening to my opinions. And also, don't be quick to judge people who might have posted opinions that have changed. Remember, one of the beautiful things about people is that we can change and become better and admit mistakes. So don't judge too harshly if somebody's made mistakes in the past and tried to rectify them. Judge them for the mistakes they try to bury and prevent people from finding. Judge them for people who are unwilling to admit that they don't know everything and are unwilling to acknowledge that they made mistakes in the past. I'm sure I've said things and posted things in my history that I would regret if I realized I'd said. That's the nature of life. But I would regret it, and I do regret it, and I will always do my best to be the best me I can. So anyway, enough of my soapboxing. What do you guys think? Can Hibiki somehow stop an entire war? That's going to be interesting. Having Ellen, though, could make a big difference here. She could reach out and maybe be able to, like, be kind of a pseudo-ambassador. I still think there's something fishy about Ellen, though. So there's something fishy about Ellen going on. The Beta have another hive they're building, which is insanity. Sagiri's somehow doing something involved in this whole process. We gotta figure out what the heck that's gonna be like in the end, like what's he up to and what's going on. And it seems that he somehow might be related to our current commander. So like, is he somehow supposed to be a double agent or something? I don't know. But anyway, we'll have to figure all that out next time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Especially thank you to the patrons. You guys are awesome. Helping to record something for you. Like, there should be something coming out for you, like, this weekend. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope you're having a wonderful time. And until the next video, watch me up. See me next. I'll see you there.